Well, the world has certainly changed, and while the nature of this upheaval is something that very few of us saw coming, the theme of adapting in the face of disruption is something that I have lived and breathed for over 15 years now. Now, like pretty much all professional speakers, I feel most at home on the stage, whether it's in front of a big arena or whether it's a boardroom workshop with an executive team. There are few experiences as magical as that moment when you see an audience engage with a presentation so powerfully that it shifts their emotional state or their mental perspective. Those are the moments that I live for. And so the question that has dominated my thinking in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic is this question of how to replicate a live conference experience in a virtual environment. And I use the word experience very, very deliberately. Now, from my years of work in the media, I've learned a lot about what TV producers and hosts do to not just engage, but also to entertain their audiences. I've also worked with some of the most creative event producers around the world and witnessed firsthand how they curate moments of meaning for their delegates. So my team and I have worked really hard to replicate a world-class conference presentation experience, all delivered remotely and on your own device. Now, because we've invested in setting up our own fully operational studio, your virtual event experience can be cost-free and worry-free from a technology standpoint. Now, we're not talking a webinar talk fest where the speaker's office clutter or book collection is more interesting than what they are presenting. We're talking a multi-camera, high-end presentation that looks much like this. At big conferences, we're used to sitting in a crowd watching speakers video cast onto the screens, and these virtual presentations will replicate that format in many ways. But unlike big conferences where you feel removed from the speaker, the beauty of this virtual format is that it is interactive, it is organic. The chat functionality of platforms like Zoom allow for rich interaction and fun with polls, activities, Q&A right throughout the presentation. Now, your attendees may well be in their pajamas, but the last thing they will feel like doing is going to sleep. Now, for longer format workshops, we're also having great success using the breakout room functionality in various platforms, which allows for rich audience interaction, not just with the presenter, but with each other as well. Like so many of us, this crisis has compelled me to put into practice what I've known for years. As a trend forecaster, I've long been predicting this shift to remote work and conferencing. It's just that the timeline, I got a little bit wrong. I figured it would take a decade rather than a few days or weeks for this transition to happen. As a disruption strategist, I've studied best practice in pivoting and reinvention, never imagining how quickly I'd have to learn to do these things myself. And yet, here we are. We are all in the same boat. If we play our cards right, this can be a time of renewal, of refinement, and great opportunity. In the words of Winston Churchill, a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. So let's make the most of this time. Let's not shrink back, but let's keep our thinking sharp. Our teams and organizations focused, and our eyes firmly on how to emerge from this disruption smarter and stronger than ever.